Hey everyone, before I begin with what I want to speak about today, I just want to let you know that we're doing well. Sure, I'm sure everybody's talking about the virus, and I'm in Italy, but fortunate for us, we've been self-quarantined a little bit before it got really bad. So it seems like so far everybody's safe inside the house, and we're going to continue to self-isolate ourselves. And I'll keep you updated and see how that goes. So what I wanted to speak about today was something that somebody asked about a few days ago that I never got a chance around to explaining, and it's about the Rosary. So she asked to explain a little bit about the Rosary and how to pray it, and I was thinking about this, and there's so many ways to explain the Rosary. There's the history, the background, the origin, and how it's prayed, and the practical points. But I guess the basic history, there are different theories of its origin, but what it comes down to it, the basics is that it's a prayer, it's oral, and it's a repetitious prayer, but more so than anything, it's based on a relationship with Mary. So there's actually an interesting story. We got a chance to speak to a former Swiss guard in Boston one time, and he said that Pope John Paul II taught him how to pray the Rosary, because even though they're Swiss guards, doesn't mean they're always Catholic. And there was one man where he said, well, Pope John Paul II, he said that imagine if your life was like a bucket full of water. And every time you sin, you put a drop of dye in the bucket. And so every time you get a drop in there, it ruins the bucket. It ruins like what's in our soul. So how do you fix that? You can't, once the dye goes in the bucket, you can't remove it anymore. So here's the solution. He said, instead of trying to pick out that dye that has already fallen into the bucket of water, you add more water. So every time you pray the Rosary, there are 50 beads. So every time you pray the Hail Mary, it's kind of like adding another drop of water in the bucket. Eventually, you pray long enough, you pray enough, you start to dilute even that dye, and then you don't get to see those imperfections anymore. So I know that's just an example and a story, but that's kind of how I approach the Rosary. I'm not going to get into the practical points of how you're going to pray, because I'll put in a link at the bottom of the video that shows you the different parts and how you pray, how you go to how you do each part. But the gist of it is fairly simple. There are 50 beads, 10 beads broken up by a separation bead here. That's when you pray the Glory Be. So let's get into the basic gist of it. Is that there are kind of like seasons that you go through every day. So each day you go through a different season of the liturgical life of Jesus Christ. And so we call them the mysteries. So there are four main mysteries. There is the joyful, the glorious, the sorrowful, and the luminous mystery. So each day, the Catholic Church is actually predetermined which day we should pray which one, and you reflect on that season. There's a certain flavor to each one. For example, the joyful mystery, it speaks about the life of Mary and Jesus, or the beginnings of the relationship with Mary and Jesus, while the glorious mystery speaks about the resurrection and the joy and the glory of Jesus Christ. The sorrowful mystery speaks about the passion of Christ. And the luminous mystery, that one's kind of like the newest one that Pope John Paul II added not too long ago. And that one has a mixture. I'm still trying to articulate how to sum this one up. But actually, when I do pray the luminous mystery, the second joyful mystery, you'll have to figure this one out on your own. I'll leave it as a quiz. You can check it out. The second joyful mystery is when I always pray for married couples and couples who are preparing for marriage. There's a train coming right now. Hopefully you can still hear me. I'm going to pause just 1 second. I want to share the three main ways. There are many ways on how you can approach the prayer of the Rosary, but there are three main ways, and I want to share those with you because those are the main ways that I usually pray, depending on how I'm feeling that day. So the first one is you actually contemplating the words of the Hail Mary and the Glory Bees. Of Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. So you contemplate that mystery itself of Mary receiving the Annunciation. And so you go through over and over and over, just walking with Mary, asking Mary for that faith, that experience, or that faith that she had, or putting yourself in her shoes. And so that's one, going with the literal contemplation of the words of the Hail Mary. The second one is thinking about those mysteries that I was just speaking about. For example, a joyful mystery speaks about the first one is the Annunciation. Well, you know what? Let me use a different example. The sorrowful mystery. The first one is the agony in the garden. So you pray the agony of the garden here. That's the first one. The second one is the scourging at the pillar, the crowning of thorns. Jesus takes on the cross, and Jesus dies on the cross. So as you're praying through, even though you're praying the words of the Hail Mary and the Glory Be, you're contemplating those mysteries in your mind. And so what happens then? So why am I even saying those words in the back of my mind? Those are kind of like, have you ever studied and you had background music, or you're working, you had background music? It's kind of there, you're kind of listening to it, but you're kind of focused on your main task. Well, that's kind of like what the Rosary is in that moment, that style, or that type of prayer, if you want to call that. It's the background music of that contemplation that you're doing. So as you're contemplating those mysteries, you can go through and you can do those. The last style is just a prayer, anything that you have in your mind, in your heart, but walk with Mary. Kind of like if you're holding the Rosary, you're holding her hand and you walk with Mary and telling her what's in your heart, what's in your mind, what are your worries, and what do you want? What do you want to ask God to help you with? For example, right now, if you're praying for the people who are suffering from coronavirus, you can contemplate that for the entire Rosary and just go through and have this as background music. And so that's very simple. People ask, well, since you're religious, since you're going to be a priest, you like to pray the Rosary. Well, first, it's our responsibility to pray the Rosary every day, the entire Rosary. So 50 Hail Marys. Do I always want to pray the Rosary? No, I don't. I have to be honest. That's just how I feel. Sometimes I look forward to it. It's just a break in my life. I go and take a break. Sometimes I do it because I need to, as my responsibility, to gain those graces for the rest of the economy of the grace of the Catholic Church. And then there's sometimes I do it because I need to, and then I find myself being blessed with the grace of Him giving me a light, Mary giving me a light, God giving me a light, and really enjoying whatever it is that I'm contemplating, I'm thinking about. So those are those three main ideas. There are many more. If you have questions, you can ask me later on, and I'll answer that in private if you want. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I think I had something else I want to share. It doesn't come to mind right now, but that's it. I hope that helps, and God bless you and stay safe. Remember, don't touch your face, wash your hands. God bless you. Bye.